it's important to go in and just be curious and like not only think about yourself when entering some of these communities, but think about like, what the community is about and like what can you do to also bring value to the community and other people in it. Yeah, I guess I'll just kind of do a quick intro before we dive in. Everybody, if you don't know me, I'm Micky. I lead community for 24/7 artists. Quick little context on my background. I'm an artist myself. I also come from a startup background and really have just kind of spent the majority of my time over the last decade, like making music, learning about the music industry, learning about, entrepreneurship and technology. And I've always just been kind of fascinated with ways innovation changes the industry and kind of, as the industry changes, like changes the things that artists need to do in order to thrive. So I'm always like on putting myself on the edge, throwing myself in environments that I have no information about before I get in and kind of learn as I go. And honestly, doing that has been the best decision I've ever made. It's, put me in positions where I can, connect with people who are also curious and drawn to kind of innovation and really just hungry and, you know, all because they really just want to, build a career in the music industry and figure out ways to do that on their own terms. So that's me. That's the stage. I'm going to do a quick overview of just what Web3 is, what how we got to Web3, some fundamental concepts. That way the language and what these tools are, and then also just how you can leverage them yourself to make money in different ways and also engage your fans on a deeper level. Also invited some of my friends up here who are doing incredible things in the space. We've got Gray, we've got Antonio. Not sure if anyone else is here. Oh, okay. We got Simbi in here. So we may have some other people in the audience too that I invited, but yeah, we'll get through the deck first, and then we'll open up the stage and let everyone kind of tell their story and talk about Web3 a little bit too. If all that sounds good, give me some yes in the chat and maybe some fire emojis, something like that. Oh, some thumbs up. Okay, there we go. All right, so I think in order to understand Web3, it's important to understand how we got to Web3 and what Web 1 and Web 2 is. So yeah, Web 1 refers to the OG internet. It was basically focused on providing static information to users. Websites were simple. You couldn't really engage with them. It was all just text. So think like blogs, like the first iteration of the internet. Web 2 after that, which is kind of like what we've been living in ever since social media was created, introduced new ways for people to interact, collaborate online. Websites became more interactive, dynamic. People could upload content to websites that wasn't just text, so photos and videos. Social networking became a big thing, and basically users can now actively participate in the creation and sharing of content rather than just consuming it themselves. Now to Web3. All right, so the next evolution of the internet aims to make the web more intelligent and intuitive by enabling computers to understand the meaning of the information on the web. So this would allow for more sophisticated search and discovery, as well as the ability for machines to automatically process and analyze the information on the web. So Web3, it's more focused on leveraging AI and machine learning and distributed ledger technologies such as blockchains, which we'll get to in a little bit. So recap of just the kind of landscape of the internet. Web 1 is like the early days of the internet, text heavy. Websites were basic. You could only view the information on them. Web 2, websites became more interactive, allowing you to share and create content and connect with others. And Web 3, the next step where we're kind of getting into now, it's becoming smarter. We're leveraging new technologies and allowing computers to understand the information on it better, opening up new ways to create and share value. So some concepts: blockchains, cryptocurrency, non-fungible tokens, NFTs. I know that a lot of you guys have probably heard about those, so we're gonna dive into those first. These technologies, they're going to be crucial for unlocking the future of the music industry. They're really putting the power and control back in the hands of artists and the people who support them most, rather than the kind of middlemen all over the industry. So there's this article by Kevin Kelly called 1000 True Fans that a lot of people reference in Web3, kind of supporting, how Web3 can really change the game for artists. And the whole thesis basically is that an artist can make a living solely off the support of 1,000 true fans who will purchase and support everything that the artist creates. So thinking about that, it's really like, it kind of, when you think about the music industry, a lot of people think about like the people at the top and then starving artists. But with Web3, it's really kind of opening up this like middle class of artists and making it easier for people to actually like make a living off of their art by leveraging the support of the people who really are like the ride or dies in their fan base. So the concepts, let's move on to the next one, blockchains. All right, blockchain is a digital ledger of transactions that is managed by a network of computers instead of a central authority. Like a central authority is like a bank, or a record label. So it's the backbone of cryptocurrency and NFTs, but it has many other potential uses. So I like to think of blockchains like a spreadsheet that basically tracks every single transaction on the websites and apps built on top of them, from logging into a website and logging out to creating profiles on them and purchasing or selling things like cryptocurrency or NFTs. So Ethereum is a blockchain, Solana is a blockchain. That's when you think about like ETH or Sol. These blockchains have their own like native cryptocurrencies that basically are fueling these different websites and apps that are built on top of them. NFTs. Let's see. They're unique digital items that are stored on a blockchain. So they could be anything from, a piece of artwork, which is probably what a lot of you guys have seen, like, all the different, the NFT craze and like the anime stuff, all the different zoo animals, but they can also be like a song or a music video or a tweet or a piece of social content. Each NFT, because it is built on top of a blockchain, it's one of a kind, and they can be bought, sold, and traded like any other asset, kind of like a rookie card. So you can also set it up so that when someone buys it, you keep getting kickbacks if they sell it too, which opens up a huge revenue stream for artists, so that when you sell merch, like you're only making money off that initial sale. But when you sell an NFT, you can also make money when they sell it to somebody else and that person sells it to somebody else. And because of the blockchain, that technology, there's like this digital paper trail that makes it possible to actually enable that. Okay, so how do you tap into Web3? The first thing you need is a wallet. So a Web3 wallet, it's a digital wallet that allows you to store, manage, and send cryptocurrency and NFTs. It's important to have one if you want to get like into Web3, because it's what you use to log into most platforms. The same way that when you log into websites in Web2, you're usually logging in with like your email or your Instagram or Facebook. With Web3 websites that have blockchain technology built into them, typically you're logging in with your wallet. It's really easy to set one up. If you Google like MetaMask or Web3 wallet, you can do it in like 2 minutes. It's like a Chrome extension, and then when you go to a website, a Web3 website, it'll just ask you to like connect your wallet. Really important thing to remember about wallets is that it's important to know like what you're clicking when pop-ups come up and ask you to connect to the websites and sign into things. And if it isn't something that you trust, just don't click buttons and pop-ups when they come up on websites for you to sign with your wallet. All right, where music fits into the mix. So with crypto, music artists can leverage platforms like Coinvise to create their own token, fuel their own kind of economy, and create rewards for fans for supporting them in different ways in exchange for the token. So, you could do something like everybody go share, this, clip of my music video on a story and prove that you did, and then you'll get tokens in exchange for that. And then you could do things like, oh, if you have this token, then you can listen to the record before it comes out or something like that. Or maybe you can buy merch with that token. Think of it kind of as like points you get on like a credit card or something like that, and being able to kind of like swap those points for points at another like credit card or something like that, or like Macy's points. Yeah, that analogy is like not great, but it clicked for my mom one time. NFTs. With NFTs, artists can create unique digital items for their assets, like songs. You guys like the mom one, okay? Videos and social content. So you can also use NFTs as a membership, which is something that I think is a good idea for artists. And if you purchase an NFT, you can give exclusive access to things like listening to records before they go live, discounts on merch, or access to a members only community space. Kind of like a digital green room that you can have on a Discord or a Geneva or something like that. So platforms like Catalog allow you to create one of one NFTs, which are kind of like digital vinyls or rookie cards, and being able to have that an artist NFT in the early days, as that artist grows and their career grows, the value of that NFT will likely grow as well. So it actually it gives fans the opportunity to come up with the artists that they support. Whereas like fans now, a lot of people become haters when people start to like blow up and they're like, oh, I was there first, and then they actually like stop being fans. So this actually like keeps them on the train, and yeah, fixes that stupid problem. But yeah, so platforms like Sound allow you to create more editions of NFTs. So like, say you want to make 25 and, make them less expensive, you can get more people in the mix that way, and then figure out, what the utility is, like what you want to give people in exchange for buying that NFT, like some of the examples I gave before. So that you set the price and you decide what they get for it. Platforms like Coinbase not only just let you create your own token, your own cryptocurrency, but also NFTs for the memberships, and you can also create NFTs for like doing specific things, like showing up to an event and something like that, kind of like a receipt for things. Other platforms like Fringe, Decent, Royal also allow fans to collect tokens and NFTs, and will give them a cut of streaming revenue in return for that. So what's happening now is like, because Web3 is something that, artists are starting to gravitate towards and are having a lot of success in, like more platforms are experimenting with ways to, to allow artists to use Web3 technology to give fans, value in different ways, whether it's just a collectible like the one of one, or if it's, streaming revenue attached to that NFT. And I think, the most important thing to do is kind of like zoom out and not think about the language and the terms and the tech, and really just put like, what can you do that would be really dope for the people that support you most, and just use these tools to actually make it happen. It still comes back to like creating value for your fans, and if you do that, then it's going to come back to you too. Yeah, I kind of just said that, but overall, tools deepen the connection with fans by giving them something that may rise in value as your career rises, as well as exclusive access for their support. In Web 2, you need tons of views and streams to make money. In Web 3, you can tap into your most engaged audience and fund other parts of your career by monetizing their support. So really tapping into that, like, 1 to 5% of the people that are really there, your friends, the people that are like, the ride or dies, and like getting creative about, how you can loop them into your journey, more than just like asking them to share something or like something or listen to a song. That's where, the real opportunity is with Web3. It's important before you get involved, and like start doing things, to make sure you understand the concepts, do your research, think about, why you want to get into Web3. engage with communities that exist to learn and network. And you'll hear a little bit more about that from some of my friends who are about to talk. And at the end of the day, just use the tools to create more value for your fans, and as a result, for yourself. That's it. All right, I haven't seen anything in the chat, but hey, nice. Okay. Yeah, let's hear from Gray. Gray was one of the first people I connected with in Web3, and is a sick artist, and also like part of the core team of a really sick community called Songcamp, which has been really just like at the forefront of like experimenting in Web3, and was probably the first like real like music community that formed in Web3. And from there, just like so many people in Songcamp have gone off to do really cool things, and it's kind of like the epicenter of Web3 and music, the way I see it.
Damn, that was a great intro. I appreciate that, Micky. So I'm Gradient. I'm a singer-songwriter, producer, and like Micky mentioned, I also work with Suncamp. And yeah, I guess I'll give a little bit of background of what we do at Suncamp. We basically take what are songwriting camps that you would go, like a writing camp that either a label you'd put on for yourself to write an album, and just do that across the internet. So we do that all on the internet, not in person. And the simple answer is like we put the output of those projects, usually music, as NFTs. So it started off with Matthew, our founder, coming together, running a camp, releasing three songs that did really, really well. And then subsequently, we decided to scale up that model of just running a camp online, but doing something more interesting than just putting out songs. We realized that, I can do that in just a second. Micky, if you don't mind, songcamp.band is what the Discord is. If you can find the mirror page, do Songcamp mirror. That'll be probably the best thing for people to look at. And then, so we started off with camp 1. That's what happened. And then the second camp, we tried to escalate that and decided that we needed a bit more storytelling, a bit more world building to the music that we were going to create. And we created camp 2, which is called Electra, in which we created what we called a world in which for the songs to exist. So we said there's a planet out there called Electra, had a backstory to it. We got a bunch of musicians together to create songs. A bunch of other musicians like myself came on the team to create the story, to do a bit of soundtracking, where we created a podcast story that people could listen to, which was exploring the planet. And all of that sort of created a world around which the songs could exist. And so we told that story in writing, through audio, through Discord, where we built a game. And all of that culminated in us releasing NFTs, both for these audio logs, these stories that I'm talking about, as well as the songs. And that project was quite successful. We ended up crowdfunding about $100,000 up front, and then also selling NFTs after the fact. That was back in 2021. And the biggest project that we'd actually done is called Chaos, which happened just last year, where we took everything to a larger scale. And we went from about 40 people in Camp 2 to 77 people in Camp 3, where we were one headless band called Chaos. We made 48 songs in 6 weeks. We had visual artists make all the artwork for the project. We had developers code a custom website, our own custom smart contract, and we put that all together as an NFT, kind of like Pokemon cards, where you bought a pack of NFTs that came with 4 songs, and we released that all out in the world with writing, with a radio show that we called Chaos Radio, essentially a podcast, lots of marketing, and that all culminated in, I think it was 21,000 NFTs, so unique visual NFTs, but 48 songs within those NFTs. And that was a pretty successful project as well, where we raised about 400 ETH, which at the time was about $600,000. So there's possibilities to have crazy amounts of success in this world. But at the end of it all, like Songcamp is essentially an artist collective that brings all these artists together, and we're all about collective creation and leveraging, our creativity together to see if we can do things more exponentially. So yeah, that's a little bit about about Songcamp. I'm curious if Micky, if you want me to dive into anything specific regarding Web3 or learnings from Songcamp that I should share with folks over here.
Yeah, I think like a lot of artists who maybe kind of like earlier in their careers where they may not have a ton of traction, like how can they engage with Web3 and in communities, and like what do you think just the overall approach should be? Like coming in cold, like maybe you don't have a ton of traction. Like what
Yeah,
have you? Yeah.
100%. I'm actually one of those people. Like in terms of like my artist career, I'm not that far ahead. I'm quite early in it myself, and I discovered Web3 as part of my early journey as I was about to release my EP. And honestly, I think the community aspect, even though it's like overplayed, is what the core of it is. You're finding like-minded people. So whether it's Songcamp or other communities, just find like-minded people that are willing to share information and give you a bit of like time of day, because I think that's where you start learning things, you start sharing information, and grow bigger. But if I was a brand new artist in Web3 or brand new artist in general and looking at Web3, I think you have to treat Web3 as one channel as part of your larger strategy. I feel like too many people get a little too caught up in all in Web3 or all in Web2. Just like most, if you're trying to be a successful artist, you wouldn't just use Instagram and that's it. You try Instagram, you try TikTok, you try Twitter, you find different avenues for you to share yourself and your creativity and see what works best for you. Just like that, I think Web3 becomes one additional channel for you to experiment and try new things. So I think that's the answer from my perspective, is just try new things, right? Whether it's minting an NFT, whether it's finding a community that you resonate with and meeting the people there, it's just try those things out and see if it feels right for you. Maybe, joining 10 different communities and trying to stay active in all 10 of them is not going to be what's right for you. And the answer may be to find the one community like Songcamp, like Catalog, like Sound. There's a whole host of them out there. Finding whatever resonates with you and sticking to that for a little bit and developing deeper connections than just surface level, highs and GMs that you see on Twitter for a lot of Web3. It's, you got to go one step deeper, start talking to people and connecting on a human level. And that's what I found at Songcamp that allowed me to sort of express myself as an artist, be there early for Songcamp and continue to stick around to see what happens, a year later. So I joined for Electra where Songcamp was very, very small. And because I stuck around and wanted to help, I got to help create the Chaos Project, become a core team member at Songcamp, and now get to do more creative projects in groups while also learning from artists that have bigger Web2 careers than me. They have thousands or hundreds of thousands of Spotify listeners. And these are people that I normally would have been like, oh, they would never respond to me on Instagram. But through these smaller micro communities, I got access to people. And so I think that's the other thing that I would call out is Web3 seems to be a place for micro communities. So it may not be like your millions or hundreds of millions of followers or big spaces like that. You may actually have a couple of thousand people in one place, but those 1,000 people you're going to have a stronger connection to and access to than, let's say, a Facebook group that has a million different artists all trying to compete for attention. So lean into that micro community feel of Web3 and see if you can develop genuine connections, which over time should lead you to discover new things. So I'll stop there.
Dope. I think, yeah, it's so interesting. It's like, it's so true. Like it's really just got to put the time in and like get to know people, because people, generate opportunities, and you have to not just like kind of, especially if you're starting out and you don't have a ton of traction, like that can kind of, it's important to go in and just be curious and like not only think about yourself when entering some of these communities, but think about like, what the community is about, and like what can you do to also bring value to the community and other people in it. So yeah, I definitely resonates. It's interesting too, because we've got someone else who I want to bring up, Simbi, who's one of my closest friends, an artist who I work with also, and he's at a point where he's had a lot of traction in Web 2 and also Web 3, and just the kind of different approaches if you are entering the Web3 space, and like maybe your schedule is super busy, and you know that it's something that you want to be a part of, and you know that you have really engaged fans already, and how can you just kind of deepen that relationship with them, and also open up new revenue streams. I kind of like to think about like some of the different NFT platforms almost as like, if Web2, you have the blogs that you want to hit when you're dropping songs. Maybe in Web3, it's like you want to hit the marketplaces and you want to tap into new audiences and new collectors there. So let's bring Simbi up to kind of just talk a little bit about himself, his journey, his thoughts on Web3. Yeah, just whatever you want to talk about, man.
What's happening? Can y'all see me? All that shit?
Hey, we can.
Okay, what up, y'all? Hope everyone's day is going well. Hope everyone's feeling blessed. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably not going to say anything that hasn't been, said already. I hopped out of the room and I just hopped back in. But yeah, my name's Cindy Laco. I'm an Ethiopian American artist. I was like a third culture kid. So basically grew up traveling all over the world and currently Brooklyn based. But, I go back and forth between New York, LA, things of that nature. I've always kind of had a bit of a nomadic, path and experience. I had, success in Web2. And for me, I'd say like the way I went about things is I've always just been about like making something that I think is beautiful. Like, I haven't always been like a really super social person. I'm not a very gregarious person, like when it comes to like strangers and stuff like that. I'm just an introvert. It's not like I don't like people, but I've always just been, I was like a mute the first 6 years of my life. So my mom actually told me that recently, and it makes a lot of sense. So, I've always just cared about, making something beautiful and making something that was compelling. And I've had a good amount of success in Web3. And I really think that's because I've also just really focused on being a good friend, I don't, I'm not like super like in a bunch of rooms and a bunch of spaces and all that type of stuff. But I'm really good friends with my brother. His name's Alan Kingdom, and he was super active in the space. And literally just through my relationship with him is how I got introduced into things. And I'd say for people who aren't necessarily the super gregarious, types of people, I think, they say it's not always best to reach up. If you're trying to network, sometimes it's better to reach to your left and to your right. You reach horizontally instead of vertically, and all ships rise with the tide. So it's like, that person that you might be wanting to network with that you think might have achieved something that you're looking to achieve. The people that are right next to you are going to also be achieving those things too, if you believe in those people. And like, it's just like we all growing up, and like at one point you could be ahead of somebody and you help pull them up, and then they'll do the same for you. But I think having a group of people that you actually trust, that you care about, and that you have a strong relationship is the most important thing, not just in Web3 or anything. It's just in life. You want a solid group of people that you genuinely care about and that you believe in, and, I always say, $100 bill and a single, they take up the same space in your wallet, but the value is much different. So I'd rather have $300 bills than 100 singles. You know what I mean? I don't need to have like a billion friends just for the optics and just so it looks cool. You know what I mean? I'd rather just have 3 or 4 people that I have solid relationships with, that I love, that I respect, that I care about. And that's kind of like how things have gone on my end. I feel like everybody who's in the seminar knows somebody who either will, break through in certain areas, or, and yet you guys will all have those moments, you know. As far as like community, I hear that often, and I love that for people. I've always been about community. I've just been more about like outside community stuff like that. I've always been into like activism and helping Black communities and stuff like that. And and we just went into Web3 the same way. Uh, and essentially, for me, that's like this is the most important thing. I'm not like a Web3 artist. I think I'm just an artist, and I think Web3, whether there's going to be a Web4, Web5, whatever, it's like we're artists, and all these things are just tools to make things faster. All technology does is it allows us to speed shit up. Like if you look at stocks and then you look at like crypto, it's just like the same shit, but it's just a lot faster and a lot more volatile and things like that. Everything's just faster. Like all technology does is it allows us to expedite the process. But fundamentally, I believe it's the same thing. As long as you have something important to say, as long as you put in effort, as long as you're committed to excellence. I always say this. Like that's what gives you the most respect. I mean, we only respect people that do stuff that's hard, and it's hard to be an artist, and it's hard to express yourself. It's hard to be vulnerable. It's hard to do that along with making something that's sonically pleasing as well. But that's always going to be my stance. I think just like putting a lot of effort, putting a lot of effort into what you're creating, putting a lot of effort in the relationships you have. It's hard to be a good friend. It's mad hard. Most people aren't good friends. Like it's hard to do that. But that's a noble thing. But as long as you put in a lot of effort to the things that are around you, I think that's kind of the most important thing to me. So I don't know how helpful that is when it comes to the specifics of Web3, but I made a good amount of money. And that's how I did it, and I'm sure there's other ways to do it. I'm just providing my perspective. And I couldn't achieve any of this without a team and without having the support of my friends, and the respect of my loved ones, and that's all I would say to anybody who's listening to this right now. It's like, you have people that care about you. You have people that respect you. And if you just pour into those, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it. That's what they say. So just water those, water that grass that's around you, pour into your friends, pour into the artists that you respect, pour into like those direct relationships. And I think you'll be more than good. You'll be great. You can change the fucking world. You can do whatever the fuck you want. And I think excellence is the key to that. Excellence is the biggest key that we have to hope. When you do something that's fucking impossible, you show other people. You don't gotta tell them what they can do. As like motherfuckers see Michael Jordan, it's like he's not Michael Jordan because he's just born Michael Jordan. No, it's because he put in a lot of effort into doing something beautiful. And that's all we gotta do. And that's why people respect that. That's why you even respect your enemies, because the soldiers on the battlefield. It's like the samurais, all that shit. It's like there's respect there because they both know that shit is fucking hard. So it's like all it is that's all you got. And at the end of the day, some people want to trade, try to get attention, and they lose respect. It's like, and then later on they're trying to get respect, and it's like they're not gonna get it. Respect is forever, man. And I respect everyone who's listening to this. I believe in you. Much love. Hopefully something I said was useful. I know it's not a traditional way of like talking about these things, but I don't really know shit about all this stuff. I know I have a basic understanding of things, but I don't think that's when my words are most useful in this instance. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully I was okay.
More than okay. Great. Yeah, guys, drop some fire emojis in the chat for Symbian if you have any questions. Ask him in the Q&A, and we can come back to him too. Let's see. We got is it possible after Antonio comes up for anybody in the audience to hop onto video?
Yeah, of course. Yep,
Cool.
yep, yep.
Dope. We got one more person I want to bring up. We got Antonio. Antonio and I crossed paths in Web3, not in the music, I guess, part of Web3, but we were part of a DAO called, or community called Kraus House DAO, where it's basically a bunch of people getting together trying to buy professional sports teams, and kind of changing the way like ownership worked in an organization specifically related to the NBA. So Antonio is a really awesome person, has a really cool background, and been kind of dabbled in music and is working on a really awesome project now in the Web3 and music space. So I'll let him kind of kick it off, talk about his journey, talk about what he's building, and yeah, go from there.
Cool. So I just I didn't get a clear idea, but in the chat, can we get like a thumbs up, thumbs down? Like, has anyone experimented with Web3? Like, you have a wallet, you meant to make any songs of NFT or anything? Like, just want to get a gauge of like how deep have you guys gone into the Web3 space? Cool. Okay, so that, to be fair, I'm going to tell you right now, like a lot of people, this is a very new space, so people are still learning. And the other thing is that I'm a bit different, is I don't like to think of it as Web 2, Web 3. I just like to think of it as what are the tools and resources that you can use to help you get closer to your fans, own that relationship. And what I mean by own that is, if Spotify went down tomorrow, how can you own that line of communication and still get your music in front of people? And that's what I really think about it as, of not just it's Web3 versus Web2. It's how can we combine these tools and resources together to make a better experience for artists? And that's what I'm building out the function right now. And the function, I don't know if anyone's from the Bay Area. I'm actually not from the Bay Area. I got put onto Mac Dre back in my high school days. And I just learned about all of Mac Dre. I was living in Jersey at the time, and I discovered that word, the function, and it obviously it's a mainstream word at this point. But the understanding is that we wanted our experience to be a party, and the biggest thing is that our goal for what we're building is how can we make it easier to actually, again, owning that relationship with your fans, and how can you track and reward those people who've been with you for day one. And a common thing that you see a lot of times is that you need fans, you need an audience, you need people to be able to sell in NFTs and like get people to attend your shows and listen to your music. And it's like you get on this hamster wheel of trying to make content and trying to put out music, of like constantly trying to grow your fan base. And what we're doing is we're making it really easy for you guys to identify and reward those people that actually support you and own that relationship with them. And the way we're doing that is, what we do is you create challenges or initiatives for people to support you. So whether it's listening to following you on Spotify, saving your song or album, adding you to a playlist, recording footage of a show, making a TikTok of you, we're making it easy for people who are on the Web 2 and Web 3 side to be able to do that. And what we do is we allow you to reward them with a free NFT. We're big on not Web 2, Web 3, so we don't even use that language, NFT. We call them packs. They're called proof accessible collectibles. And those packs are badges that actually prove that a person has done something to support you, and they unlock an experience. And that experience can be a meet and greet with you. It could be a personal shout out. It could be discounted merch. It really can be anything you want. But the idea is that you have fans, you have people that are talking, that are listening to your music, that are saving and that are sharing it. And there's no way for you to actually figure out who those people are. Yes, they might be able to buy an NFT, but you're not able to really figure out who are those people that, outside of just buying an NFT, that are sharing my music, that are coming in, are like engaging with my tweets, making TikToks. And we're really that layer across the internet that are giving you those tools and resources to accomplish that. And I'm not a musician, so I can't talk from the artist side. I can just talk from the fan side of being someone that I've been early to a lot of artists, and I've never been able to actually prove that outside of saying, yeah, I know that song. And to me, this was really dear, because I'm sure from the artist side that you would love to know the people that supported you day one or early in your career or before the masses. And it's like, how do you know who those people are from when, you know, you're making songs in your room to you're in the studio with Kendrick Lamar? And that's what we're doing. And you don't have to make a wallet. You don't have to do any of that stuff. What we do is you just make an email. We set up the wallet for you. We manage all of that. And you can obviously port that over to what you want. I'm not going to get too technical there, but you can check us out at the function.xyz. And yeah, Micky, that's really all I got on my end. I feel like everyone's dropped a lot of gems, and I don't want to regurgitate Web3, Web2 stuff, but my whole philosophy just really is, it's no Web2 versus Web3. It's how can I combine everything to put myself ahead and be able to take as much control over my career as an artist as possible, while also being able to bring my fans with me wherever I go.
100%. Just more tools in the shed, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, definitely got to stay tuned on the function. I think like what Antonio's building is really going to change the game for how you can really just like engage with those people who are already supporting you, and you know, just make it fun for them. And like, yeah, with engaging like your fans in general, it's you got to be creative, you know. And I think being able to have that framework and that platform that will help you do that and you manage those relationships, it's going to be a game changer, because that's where I see like a lot of the challenges already, like in the space with other platforms, and what happens once they're there ready to support you, you know, and like how can you engage them. So I'm super hyped about what Antonio's building, and I think it's going to be really great for artists in general.
I want to say we're in a closed beta, but because Micky, you're the homie, you've also invited me up here to be able to share what we're doing. We're offering free product experience for you guys. So if you're interested in dabbling and getting into the space and being able to kind of figure out who your fans are that are supporting you, please feel free to reach out to me. My site, I just put it up there. I'll drop my email just in case, but yeah, 100% free. Like my main goal and my team's main goal at this point is how can we build a better experience so that you know who those people, who the fans are that are supporting you, and use that as you need to grow. So feel free to shout me out, hit me up or anything. Even if it's just to get feedback or answer any questions, I'm happy to help.
Appreciate it, man. And thank you, Gray. And I think Simbi just had to jump to a show, but yeah, I think if anybody has any other questions, we can go through that right now and then see if okay, we got
He's had a question, but I can't answer it, so you
Hey, Keys, man, appreciate you for showing up. Yeah, what we're going to do is actually curate all these different resources in the Geneva space, which Geneva is kind of like Discord. I think you may be in there already. If not, definitely for anybody, by the way, if you're not in the community space, that's where, you know, everything happens. That's where we kick it. That's where we share resources. That's where we post updates on the 24/7 TV calendar and everything. But yeah, we're working on basically just curating like the entire kind of like music tech landscape. So including Web3 and other tools that will just be helpful. And if you're not already, you know, familiar with kind of what we're working on the tooling side of things, we're also going to be building original products too. And you know, in the future, being able to let, you know, members of the community also, you know, vote on what products we actually build. So in the meantime, yes, we are going to be kind of centralizing the existing landscape and curating the ones that we think are most useful. That'll be in like kind of like a guide that you'll find in like the tools and templates channel in Geneva. In order to access that, you basically go to 247artist.com. If you know, go through the sign up flow, and you'll get an email to join the community where you can find all that stuff.
All right, I'm bringing Slash up as a panelist so he can ask his question. All right, there he is.
Question and statement. I guess first, to add on to what everyone was saying as far as getting into Web3, I actually manage an artist that's been doing pretty well in Web3 by the name of Ahmed Kazmi. And one of the things that when people keep saying communities, this was losing me. It was losing me all last year. The word communities was, you think about it simple, right? Like your town, the people around you, right? That's kind of what you say to yourself as when you say communities. But what I realized was Twitter Spaces was like a key to it. They had a lot of conversations in Twitter Spaces that helped fuel it. You had platforms similar to Function XYZ. You had other ones like Sound XYZ. You had 402. You had Catalog that would like introduce artists to their communities, to their followings, basically, and they would host nights. And as much as Web3 gives you a lot, it's also about giving Web3 a lot, right? So a lot of these communities, they want you to participate as well. So don't go into it just thinking that it's a one-sided thing. Okay, this is here where I'm going to gain my fans. This is also where you're going to become a fan. Like, and this is also where you will like give to those people's art, because when they see that you're actually contributing to the community, they give back to you. And now then the goal will become to be the best person in that community, right? To be the best, finest artist there, to lead that community. Thus you get the most supporters. So like using Twitter Spaces is one way if you're trying to figure out like how to actually bridge that, because that was skipping me. And even Ahmed understood it instantly, and he kept saying the word and it just kept going over my head. Like, and I felt bad. I was managing him. I will admit to y'all, I felt bad. And we went to NFT NYC and had dinner with some people over at MetaMask, and that actually changed everything. So if anyone's trying to figure out exactly like what communities, what do you mean? Like, go on Twitter, follow a few pages there that are different platforms, follow Function XYZ first, and check them out. And they'll actually probably be the best gateway, especially since they're going to curate something here for you. And check out the other platforms to support you, OpenSea and all those, and contribute to those communities there. So that was my first part. The question that I had though was, what utility are you guys finding to be the most attractive? So like when people say like, oh, you get the token and you can trade it in for a sweater or merch or this experience, what experience are you guys finding to be the most successful?
Great, Antonio. You guys want to jump in or?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tough because it depends. I think it depends too on like where you are and what your fans want. But funny enough, the personalized like shout outs, like actually being acknowledged by like someone who's maybe NFT you bought, by someone who you're supporting, like that shout out or that experience, that ability to be able to meet them is what like we're seeing. Like, yes, you can do merch, you can do like maybe access to a group chat, and that works too. So it's either group chat, it's access to you really is what I've been seeing perform like the best, but I could be biased, so, but that's what I see working the best. Group chats, shout outs from the person who the artist you're supporting, and also being able to actually like be able to like meet them and see them in like real life or via Zoom or something like that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Just like it's that direct line, and I think if there's a place to to kind of host that direct line, like and have that community space, I think being able to like as you start to sell different NFTs and build that kind of like collector fan base, giving them a place to actually engage with you directly, like it's like backstage, or the green room, like letting them in that way through having like the entry point be the NFTs that they're buying, and then within that community, giving them a voice to actually like help you figure that out, even.
Thank you. That was my only question. I appreciate it. Actually, that's actually a gem, because I just started thinking about Slack and like messaging services and having people just be able to have access to other creatives if they want a chance to even network. That might be a great way to even do it with 24/7 artists if you want to have access to more meetings with you do. I don't know, I'm making stuff up, but
Yeah, Slack, Discord. We're on Geneva right now. It's like to me, it's a little bit smoother than Discord and Slack. But yeah, check out Geneva if any of you guys are looking into you said more meetings. But yeah, check out Geneva. I think it's just geneva.com. It's dope though. But yeah, if anyone else have anything they want to say in the chat or questions, if not, I think that's Web3.
Yeah, this was so amazing. I learned a lot, but obviously, Micky, I'll be texting you and emailing you, and but this was really good. Thank you guys so much. Anybody else have anything else? Oh wait, somebody else raised their hand. Hold on. Did they? Yes, they. Give me 1 second. I'm pull you up. All right, she's coming in. The floor is yours.
Hi, y'all. So I feel like I don't have the best scope on Discord and Twitter and all of those platforms per se. But do you have any recommendations on how to like keep up with all of these things? Because Micky, I feel like I was with you with your mom at Macy's. Like I just, like this is just not, you know, these platforms are kind of difficult for me to kind of keep up with. So, do you have any recommendations on like, I thankfully figured out how to make a Discord right now. I joined the Songcamp and I want to, I want to feel integrated in the community and not feel overwhelmed within all of these new platforms within the Web3 space. Do you have any recommendations on that particularly?
I think first off, you're already ahead of the game because you're here, and what we're doing is really trying to, be that place where we can, kind of like simplify things and curate, what some of these other tools are so that we can kind of like point in the direction based off of whatever, whatever's resonating, whatever your goals are. So I think so much of it is like education first, being like, okay, let me see what everybody's talking about. And like within the 24/7 artist community, we're going to be posting all of these different tools and kind of breaking them down like this so that based off of whatever your goals are, you can kind of go in to explore them each individually. I think with, just kind of like, moving through the dark and like Discord and Twitter and where to go, like each thing leads to the next thing, so like joining, Songcamp, and, and the function, like getting to know other people in those communities, like that will lead you to the next one because you'll start to like recognize patterns in what people are talking about and just what's a good vibe, what's not a good vibe. And at the end of the day, like just the people, the people that are part of all these things, because that's really, what's going to define the experience for you. And you want to make sure that you're not just like in a place just because like you're supposed to be there if the vibe's not right, because then, it's not going to really help you.
I would also say don't be afraid of not being able to keep up with everything because it's a lot of information. You're going to miss something. So don't let that FOMO get to you of like, oh, I missed this. It's like information is just moving really fast and it's very easy to become overwhelmed and then burn out. So be okay with not being able to keep up with every little thing and just find those people like Micky and like and those channels like Geneva and Discord that you trust and that do provide quality information, because it's a lot and you're going to go crazy just trying to keep up with all of it.
I was in over 200 communities on Discord at one point. and I will echo that. It is a lot and it's not necessary really. It's about finding the ones that, that feel right and not feeling like you're missing anything by not being in everywhere,
Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, thanks for coming. All right, guys. Well, I think we're good. Everybody that got up on stage, appreciate your time and the gems you dropped, and everybody that asked questions, awesome questions. Yeah, excited. Make sure to keep up with 24/7 TV so you know what we're going to be talking about next. And hope everybody has a great night and rest of the week.